Warning, high winds approaching, water level rising, temperature increasing, voltage overloading.
Before we begin, thank you very much to SD for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the help. Thank you for the contribution. Very, very appreciated. You pitched in at the highest level, which means you get to DM me a video request of whatever you would like, so long as it's within what I normally do. Thank you very much for the support. Do appreciate it. So, it's basically this is going to be TFcon week. One, because I've got Magnetar debuting on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, over on twitch.tv/Agent Magnetar. Go watch. It's a lot of work I put into this. I'm looking forward to it so much. So I kind of need an easy week on the channel. And luckily, I have a lot to say about TFcon LA. Yes, I went. I had a good time. I had a fantastic time. And now we get to talk about it. So today we're just going to be talking about the experience itself and just cool things that happened during the con. We're going to explore cool stuff that I saw. Tomorrow I'll tell you about the haul, because I know everyone wants the haul, and we'll also talk about the autographs I got there too. We'll be doing the third-party slides on Friday, because I always talk about those every TFCon. And then Saturday is probably going to be the other California adventures, because as long as I was out to the West Coast, I decided to do a lot more. So it's going to be a whole kind of roundup of just like how the trip to California went this week. And it's going to start here. And the first thing I have to mention about TFCon was thank you to everybody who came out to see me and actually like came up to say hi. I didn't have a bad interaction with a single person. I loved meeting each and every one of you. I was informed that someone had so much social anxiety they did not want to approach me. I begged and pleaded, please come and approach me. You are not going to interrupt anything. I had people coming up in the autograph lines. I found out waiting in long autograph lines, that was the way to actually let people find me. I wandered the dealer room for hours on Sunday after my budget was blown, just, trying to find people. It turns out I met more people just waiting in the David K autograph line. But is what it is. Yes, someone asked me to sign an Armada hotshot. Someone also bought and let me sign a titanium Megatron. So I'm confident this one will not leave the box, which is pretty much the only way to actually enjoy this figure. So yes, what I call the worst Transformer toy of all time is now christened with my autograph somewhere out there in the world. So that was fun. And that was one of the big reasons I wanted to go to TFCon, was for those more social experiences, because TFCon Orlando was great, but not a lot of people really turned out to it. TFCon LA, way bigger, way more dense. I had so many more people this time. I didn't run out of coins, but then I acknowledged the coins aren't nearly as cool as the cyber keys I had in Orlando. Still kind of upset about that one, but point is, it was a fantastic time meeting everybody. Thank you everyone who came up. I hope I made your con better, because you certainly made mine a lot better. Thank you very much. And that social aspect boiled over to what was my favorite thing from Orlando, and that was lobby hijinks. And by hijinks, I mean things like this. Don't question it. Turn away if you have to, but do not wonder about it too long. It will start to hurt. So when it comes to the social aspect, my favorite thing in Orlando was just after the con, people congregating in the lobby, playing with toys, hanging out, getting to meet people. I met some really cool people who I did not get the name of, and I really wish I had, because it's unfortunate. Like, so you have these cool little social experiences, and then they just kind of end. Oh no. But it was really cool in the moment. And it's a really cool thing that, like, because everyone's like bringing and buying a whole bunch of really expensive figures, sitting in these little social circles is a great way of actually experiencing some toys that normally you would never would never catch your eye. There's a toy in this shot that may or may not be in my haul video because of that. And yes, it is the Grid Man. How did you know? So that was really cool. That was fun just to kind of sit and hang out with people. And some of the ones from last time, Sam Makes Toys, great guy. Love seeing him again. Love hanging out with him. Brilliant custom toy engineer. Let's see, what else do we have? I mean, let's see. We can talk about just like crowd in general. Like, God, the place was dense. There are thousands of people crowded in here. So like one of the criticisms I could levy at the con is just like the space did not feel big enough for how many people were here. Probably why I came home with a case of con crud, which seems to be a sinus infection. Took a little bit of medicine for it. Thanks to my girlfriend. Love you. Thank you. So that seems to be getting better. But yeah, that was not fun to come home with. And I was masked most of the time. That was the weird thing. But no, it's a super dense area. And apparently this was the most crowded that TFcon had ever been in LA. So maybe it's outgrowing itself a little bit. Maybe outgrowing itself a little bit. We'll see. One of the cool things though is a lot of those people showed up at the YouTuber panel. Like, this is my point of view from the stage. And it was so cool to see the entire room completely filled. Keep in mind, there are guests here, like, Frank Welker's here. God, there's so many guests. Alan Oppenheimer's here. Like, a bunch of Prime actors are here. Huge names. Charlie Adler's here. Jim Cummings is here. David Kay is here. But about 300 people filled up this room to standing room only to see us, to see the YouTubers, and that meant the world to me. Because I know there's so many other things you could be doing at the con at the time, and it's so expensive to get there. You've got, either a lot of you worked overtime, a lot of you took extra shifts, a lot of you did extra rounds of Uber or DoorDash, a lot of you sold your collection just to afford to make it to California, and there's no cheap way of doing that. The long car rides are expensive. The plane tickets are expensive. The hotel is expensive. The con tickets are completely reasonably priced. But at that time, after so much sacrifice to make it there, you could have been doing anything. You all decided to share an hour of your time with us, and that means the world to me. Thank you so much, every single person who was there. And yeah, this was one of the weird things. So like, I wanted to meet other content creators, and I did, so like I went to dinner with a whole bunch of people, including Ultra Primal. Not Ultra Primal. Which it was great to see her. I saw her at the last TFcon. That was cool to see. That toy guy. You'll excuse me, my brain is still sick and foggy. So got to meet him. And he was cool. Like we got to have, like sitting next to him with dinner. Paper Airplane was there. Kind of a socially awkward guy. He had never been to a panel like this before, so I'm like trying to coach him through like how to focus and not get too nervous at the crowd staring. So like little bits of wisdom I can impart. Vangelis was on the panel. I never heard of him. Kidding. Me, Vangelis, and Aaron had not seen each other since we had not been in the same building, the same convention since 2010. 15 years. Absolute insanity. So fantastic to reconnect with them. Aaron was one of my roommates at the con, so we got to spend a lot of time together. Just awesome to reconnect in person. I love those guys. We've been podcasting together since 2008. Those are like blood brothers at this point. Like, I would go to war with those two anytime. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there's so many people at the panel. Like, or understand. Like, why don't I just look it up? Because there's one name I do remember. I wait until the end, and I apologize if you're watching, because like my brain is just goop right now. It's producing nothing but goop. Kean Carlisle is the one that I couldn't remember, and I should remember him because like I think me and him are like the two biggest purveyors of Derek's collection. Someone actually had the word stewardship for it, and that's what it feels like. It feels like we paid to take care of his collection for him. And we get along pretty good. We get along pretty good. Like, he was cool to run into and talk to every so often. Man, the guy is passionate. Man, he has put so much money and time and effort into his passion projects. They had a Derek Wyatt tribute comic, and like it brings tears to your eyes. Like I had a hard time reading it, you know, because I knew Derek, you know, like we've talked before. Like it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I don't know if there's anything left over from that comic. I hope there isn't, because it seemed like it was super popular all weekend. I warned him, like he's told me, like, oh, he warned me, like, I think I might have printed too many. I'm like, get ready to make an alternate cover and a second run, because that's what he's going to have to do. Super cool guy. And then the one I was surprised about was Jobby the Hong, who was next to me on the panel. Never talked to the guy before. Never had a good read on him. He was just like super popular Transformer YouTuber. And that's really all I really had to glean. And a very over-the-top personality. But in person, I found it, like, surprised me, we had a lot of similar philosophy when it comes to content creation, which is really cool to find out, you know? So, actually really cool to meet with him and actually talk to him. Like, on Sunday, I found him in the dealer room. We just kind of talked for like 10, 15 minutes. And cool guy. So, a few other cool people I actually got to talk to. Met someone named Joe. And Joe's a cool guy. We talked quite a bit. He's a big fan of the channel. And Joe asked me, have you ever talked to Flint Dilley? Flint Dilley is the man who wrote the majority of the original Transformers cartoon. Like, he was like the lead writer. And I'm like, no. I've never talked to him before. 15 minutes later, I'm talking to Flint Dilley. I'm talking to the man who wrote my childhood. And he asked me what my favorite characters were. And like when I told him Blitzwing was #1, he was like, really? Like he barely remembered who Blitzwing was at first. He thought it was one of the Seekers. So like we had to go like the 5 Faces of Darkness and that whole thing. It was fun though. It was great just to pick his brain, just like, you know, having him take some interest in what I do. Everyone is shocked when they hear that I've been doing daily content for 3.5 years, by the way. Everyone is shocked at that. Oh, that was the thing I forgot to mention. Yeah, at the panel, one of the questions was, what is this Transformer, what's being in like doing this YouTube channel done for you? And it said like, it got me my girlfriend. Because it really did. There were a lot of weird happenstance. And it got an applause. Like my relationship status got an applause at TFcon. But Flint was really cool to meet. Very, very nice guy. David K was really cool to meet. He's another one that I just kept running into over and over at the con. Here's a crazy thing. After the autographs, he remembered my name. I think it's because I made him do something weird. So I asked a few of my friends, like, do you want an autograph? And two of them said David K. One of them is my friend Minerva, who is a VTuber, and one of her models is this little blue cat that she made into a plushie. So I decided, let's have some fun. I told Minerva I was getting the autograph. I didn't tell her I was going to get David K to take a photo of her character. She lost her mind, which is exactly what I was aiming for. But David remembered my name throughout the con. We ran into each other a few other times, a couple times in the dealer room, one time in the artist alley, because the Darwin Rose studio booth, good friends of mine, by the way. Darwin Rose does fantastic work. Please Google them. They do some really, really cool artwork. Yeah, Evander and Mara, great people. Absolutely deserve all of the success. Go check them out. They wrangled David over so they could give him like stuff based on Beast Wars Megatron they had done. So yeah, so I ran into him again there. And he remembered my name the entire weekend, which was crazy. The one I didn't get a photo of, and what was even crazier to me. So another one who kind of like ended up, like there's a couple who just kind of ended up and like curious about who was congregating. And one of them was Frank Totoro. And ran into him several times, ran into him in the dealer room when he was shopping for toys. So, and then ran into him after the con. I got a hug from him. So apparently I left a good impression. And then the big one was Aaron Archer, the guy who designed and led Transformers for 10 years. Aaron would also come to where people were congregating and hanging out and playing toys. And the big thing for him, like getting to talk to him was just, that's the learning tree, right? And it's cool to just get to meet them and hang out. But after the con, when I'm going back to the airport, when I'm back to the airport and I go to the terminal, there he is. He's just sitting there. He's got the same connecting flight to Denver that I do. So I sit down, we talk for like an hour. I think I get to call Aaron Archer a friend of mine now, which is a crazy thought. TFcon allows magical, wonderful things to happen. Absolutely magical things. Okay, so that's a general rundown of just con experience. Like I said, it's a lot of social stuff. I will admit I never made it to any of the panels. I feel like I owe Kian an apology because he did a ton of work for his panel. I wish I had made it to the Frank Welker panel. Just people kept stopping me. People kept stopping to talk, and I didn't want to take that time away from them. So I will have to catch the panels once they are up on YouTube somewhere. However, I do want to go over the dealer room because, of course, that's the huge pull for a con like this. And we're going to go through it quickly because this video is already long. My sinuses are still not happy with me talking for long periods of time, so we're just going to kind of rifle through all this. The dealer room is absolutely stacked and incredible. You can see from this one shot. Look at how many random things there are. There's Japanese G1, American G1. There's a Godzilla toy, Revenge of the Fallen's there, some Prime toys, some Cybertron, some Titanium. Just absolute ludicrous amounts of stuff. Also, I'm lucky though. I'm lucky I already found a G1 Overlord last year, or else a lot of that would have tempted me. The one booth was Artfire 2000. Look at all that. It's just boxed stuff. This whole wall of just boxed stuff and really, really big boxed stuff. That is a Grand Maximus boxed on top of there. They had a loose Grand Maximus that I could actually see in person. Insane. Like, they had just like 3 boxed Starsabers and 4 boxed Victory Leos just on the table in front of them. They had so many, they could just leave them on the front table. Here's inside their case. And, you're going to see like the exclusive Japanese Headmasters. You're going to see Transformer Juniors, like original in-box stuff I had never even seen before. Crazy amount of stuff, like just absolutely crazy toys. And then all the loose stuff that they had, and stuff I'd never seen in person, like Black Zarak, he was there, Diatlas, Metro Titan, there's a Diaclone robot in the back, Shadow Maru. I had never seen a lot of this stuff in person. Some of them are way smaller than I thought they were. Found they had Grandis for a while, and Grandis is just this little companion cube looking boy, just this big. He's not big in the least. He's not a city bot. So cool to see, just super cool to actually see it. Most of it I would never be able to afford, but just cool to be around it, just cool to experience it, even if it's just for a brief moment. The other thing that tempted me on these was the Deathsaurus. I think that's going to be the next grail. I've had Starsaber long enough. It's high time I had a Deathsaurus to go with him. Speaking of things I will never be able to afford, someone just had this shelf. Let's just casually have like when the G2 bomber Megatron and the carded green Ramulus are just like not the most, or like almost like footnotes compared to the rest of your shelf. That's saying something. You've got a ton of lucky draws up here, and then you have five G2 Stunticons. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Super cool to see, but these are also super high up on a shelf. You couldn't get a good look at these, unfortunately. Let's see, what else did we have here? Oh, a prototype HasLab Unicron just kind of chilling out. I don't even think this was for sale. I think he just had it. And there's a boxed HasLab Unicron underneath it for $2,500. Other cool, really kind of random things I saw, like here's the slot cars. You never hear about these, do you? Where's the yellow prowl? Where's the yellow prowl to mimic that? See, Diachrone, which is actual licensed, like pre-Transformers, like licensed to sell in America. It's just repacked Diaclone toy. Never really took off, obviously, but that is official. That is real. It's not a knockoff. box Jetfire, which I feel like is like a go-to grail. I feel like any decent Transformer convention is going to have sealed Jetfires. See, 3-0, yeah, 3-0 was there, showing off their stuff. They have a comic book edition Optimus Prime, complete with like the battle damage from the comic, and then of course the Megatron arm. That was kind of cool to see. The Rodimus is really, really cool too. One booth that almost scared me was this wall of sealed Beast Wars, and if you know me, you know I collect sealed Beast Wars. Now, the fortunate thing is, a lot of this I already had. I don't collect the boxed ones because they're hard to display, but I collect carded ones. And a bunch of those I already had, so it wasn't a big danger for me. I think the one that pulled me the most was the Rock Bubble, Optimus, and Megatron. And that was like $100. That was like, I thought that was actually pretty fair for such a rare and old piece. But it just happened like 2 weeks ago. I was out in the Fort Lauderdale area for a weekend, and we did a bunch of toy shopping there, and I ended up finding like 3 sealed carded Beast Wars toys. So my brain was like, you did a lot of dipping into carded Beast Wars. I don't think you really need this right now. And it's true. Like when I shop at TFcons, I would rather come home with things I intend to open up and play with, you know, rather than like buying something that's going to stay sealed. So I decided to kind of forego a lot of this, which is great for my budget. Like in general, it's just cool to see so many generations of Transformers stacked up at once. Things that I hadn't seen boxed in so long, just all together. And then there's the random stuff. The custom figure was out for display. Oh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew this was the custom class thing. I would have signed up for the custom class. This is such a good idea. This is such a good idea. I'm so upset. They were selling the spare heads, so you could like just buy the heads for $20 and do it yourself at home. I totally forgot that, and by the time my budget was spent, I totally forgot about it. Like so, you know, that's the time I remembered it. But this is a brilliant idea, absolutely brilliant idea. Came with a key too. Third-party stuff that I actually caught my eye, because yeah, TFcon I indulge in third-party. Someone's doing the Pretenders the way I thought they should be done. You know, it's just a really good Metal Hawk inner robot with a bunch of clip-on armor, Ronin Warrior style, to make his Pretender mode. That's exactly how it should be done. The only thing that I would add to this is if you could come up with some way of using that armor independently, if it could combine into some kind of weapon for him or something. That's the only grievance I have with it, though. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what a modern Pretender should do. Exactly. Did see the Iron Factory Lio Kaiser in person. That's super cool to see. They did have, like, for $500, you could have just gotten the box of all 7. They do look cool, but it's just too small for me. It's too small for me. I need these guys to be huge. I mean, not faulting the engineering. I will admit, there's parts of these guys that do look better than the HasLab. I will completely be honest with that. But, yeah, for the cost, I had to skip. I forgot this one was a thing. Like, I really don't like movie Starscream design, but I love doing that tri-wing plane design from it. I love that that is actually a thing. Didn't see it out for sale, though. Didn't see it out for sale. So, like, who knows? Like, that might be in my third-party future at some point. And, I mean, there's so much. There's so much throughout the entire show. Yeah, like, it's hard to just pick and choose exactly what you want. And you know, make up your mind when you have a limited budget. You know, I didn't bring a credit card I could load up, so I had to stick to just like how much I intended to spend. But, you know, and then there's random things. Who'd have thought I'd see a booth that's mostly tokusatsu stuff? You know, do you want an Xbox 360? There was an Xbox 360 for sale. They had a few Kamen Rider belts. I could have bought a Kamen Rider belt at TFcon. That would have been a story. Some of the cooler things I saw that were not Transformer related, things like Devil Satan 6. This is the monster bots from GoBots, the Combiner. And yeah, like Devil Satan 6 is such an awesome name. This is one that, you know, like for $400, if I was a more dedicated GoBots enthusiast, this would absolutely pique my interest. I think for 400, such an old Combiner box set, still in that condition, absolutely fair. Also, funny enough, the last night of the con, super late, I did talk to Proto Man, so, and that battle base that's next to that Devil Satan 6, he bought it. So I actually got to see that in person out of the box, which is actually kind of cool. Turns out Machine Robo did a whole bunch of really cool stuff that never came over for GoBots, and it's kind of a shame that someone had Mask. Why did someone bring Mask? I mean, I guess they technically transform. So that was still cool to see. Nothing that tempted me. Fortunately, nothing there that made me go, okay, I kind of want that. Mugenbein. Oh my god, I'm so glad I found this on Sunday. If I'd found this on Saturday when I still had a budget, I would have spent so much, because I miss these things. I have regrets over selling off all of my Mugenbein in the past. If they had the right sets, I would have jumped on it. But it was mostly just stuff that I'm like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I don't think I need it anymore. There's a couple sets that I kind of looked at and went, you know, maybe. If I had the budget, I might grab these right now. But most of this stuff, like, I'm okay. I felt like I was okay setting it aside. Still really cool to see, though. That scratched the nostalgia itch really hard. Diaclone Reboot, too. Obviously, Diaclone Reboot's going to be there. Cool to see it there. Again, nothing that really piqued my interest, but still cool to see. That's mostly how the dealer room shaped up. That's mostly the experience I had on the floor of the con. The last experience of the weekend, the last communal experience, Aaron and Chris taught me how to play Commander in Magic the Gathering. I have not played Magic the Gathering since high school. I'd never played Commander format, but Final Fantasy VI is getting a deck in June. I will have to buy it. So it's a black deck, so they gave me a zombie deck to kind of learn off of. Aaron had this crazy, like, overstacked Captain America they threw everything on because he was just trying to finish the game so he could go to bed. Don't blame him, he had a super early flight. I picked up on the politics of Commander pretty quick. I let Chris power himself up in order to do enough Commander damage to take Aaron out of competition. And then that same thing left me powered up enough to take out Chris. So I win. I won my first game of Commander. Our editor, Bees, is the one over there with a Wario playmat. That's a long story. Don't ask about it. They gave him the squirrel deck, and the squirrels were getting super scary for a while. We decided he was the biggest threat, and he had to go first. But that's pretty much the experience of TFcon LA, at least as far as what I did at the show. I mean, fantastic time. Thrilled I finally got to fly out to a convention. Really, really cool experience. Not opposed to doing it again. But that's enough TFcon talk for the day. I need to rest my voice and get some water into my throat. So thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more. We're going to talk about the haul and the autographs I got tomorrow. And then we're going to talk about the panels and the slide. We're going to talk about the third-party slides on Friday. So, plenty more TFcon talk to come. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.